I'm just loading up my gear and getting ready to actually place some of the batter boards that will be used to string up everything and get this whole house squared up. It is a sort of T-shaped, so what we're going to do is just basically pull a full giant square, square the entire area, and then we'll be able to pull off for all of the wings of the house. That'll make it a lot easier just getting one big square first. I'm actually going to start by just putting in the batter boards for the entire back length of the house. That'll make it easier. We know where the stakes are currently is pretty much on point as far as the back of the house. Those were surveyed and dropped in, so I'm going to just confirm that and just run at least one string down the entire back, and then we'll pull everything off of that. So I got a few of these batter boards plugged in here. Just using 2x3s and a 2x4. Sometimes you'll see on the corners people use sort of a right angle setup. This is much easier, quicker, less material, and less chance of it moving. So I'm just getting everything kind of roughed up here. Then what I'll do is I'm going to come back with some other stakes and run them down at an angle, get them into the ground to really keep this thing completely solid. You don't want these moving at all once you start laying your foundation out. So for now, I'm just kind of roughing everything out. Put up another one here. I'm going to lay out a couple more for everywhere I need them for this layout. Then I'll get everything really roughed out, squared. And then, like I said, I'll add the additional stakes, get everything really locked in, and just start fine-tuning and squaring everything. So this does make it a lot easier. It's a little initial extra time to set these up, but there's really no other way to do it. I mean, it's just guesswork if you're not setting something up like this. So I'm just going to continue putting the rest of them in. I got a couple more to go, maybe 4, and we'll start fine-tuning this. All right, so I got all these banged in here. Started actually running some strings, just this back corner. I got the full length of the wall, the longest wall in the back of the house here, and then we just pulled another one off here. So I have all of these in the corners of the house. There's 2 in the middle here. So you might be wondering why those are there. So the reason for those is because this house actually, it's a big rectangle going this way, but then there's a T that sticks out going this way. So we have a rectangle here, a long rectangle back here. So those are going to be able to pull my lines through this length of the house coming this way up to these. So that'll give us the option to square the entire back of the house and then square this portion of the house coming out this way. So we'll run lines that way. They'll end up going through the foundation, but that'll give us the ability to run strings over all of our footers, all of our forms I should say, and really get this thing squared up. So this took me probably a total of 4 or 5 hours. The worst part about it is just pounding in stakes. But what I did here is a couple of these busted, slacking them with the sledgehammer. But you know, we put 2 stakes down in the board across, and then I put these stakes angled in and screwed in, so that way, I mean, this thing is completely solid. You could shake it, move it, so that way when you're pulling on the strings from both directions, this thing won't move. You do not want these to move, because everything you're pulling off of here is going to be what you end up building to. So that's pretty much it. It doesn't have to look pretty, it just has to do the job. They do make sort of reusable pieces that you could buy that are metal stakes with adjustable brackets and all that. I mean, I don't really invest in that because this is kind of just quick, easy, dirty way to do it. So we got the job done. The next step will be stringing everything up, getting everything squared out, and then we're going to be getting some stone, some wash stone dropped off. And what we'll do is we'll sprinkle that around the entire perimeter of where all the footer forms are going to be going. That way we could use that wash stone, rake it out, and use the laser level to get those forms adjusted to the exact height they need to be. So what I did was also make sure that my boards here are about 6 inches higher than the forms, because no matter how hard you pull that string, that's 108 feet long there's going to be some sag no matter how hard you pull it. So you don't want that sitting or touching the form itself. So we'll be able to use a plumb line right off of this line to actually make sure that we're in the exact spot for the forms. But just something to think about when you are putting these out there is, just make sure you're not going to set the string on top of the form. And also, usually it's nice to be able to set these back. Usually you'd like them away from this line far enough to be able to run a machine or a skid steer at least, so we can bring in the stone and stuff. However, partly the reason I didn't is because this drops off back here and I wasn't able to push this one corner out much further than it is now. But honestly, what I'm going to be doing is coming on the inside of the house and laying our stone down. So really, these aren't going to get in the way. I don't need to bring the machine over on this side. But again, just something to think about. If you do, and you're going to be running machine back and forth on the outside, definitely keep that in mind. You could set these back a lot further and out a lot further. So yeah, that's it. That's all we were going to do here today. Stay tuned. The next video will basically be getting all these footer forms laid out and move on to the next step. If you guys like these videos, please give it a thumbs up, follow us, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you guys on the next one.